You meet a woman. The connection feels entirely undeniable. You spend hours talking. The banter is perfect, and you feel that rare, instinctual pull that tells you, this is someone I want. You invest your time, your energy, and your attention. But when you finally make your move, you get hit with a variation of the same soul-crushing phrase. I just don't see you that way. Or, you are such a great guy, but I really just want to be friends. For most men, hearing this feels like a death sentence to the romantic connection. You walk away thinking that if a woman isn't instantly interested in you, the game is completely over. You think attraction is binary. You either have it or you don't. But today, we are getting into a biological reality that confuses almost every man on the planet. I am going to explain exactly why you have been looking at female attraction completely wrong. Male attraction is a light switch. It is highly visual, and it happens in a fraction of a second. You see a woman, your brain processes her physical symmetry, and the switch flips. I desire her. But female attraction is not a light switch. It is a dial. And just because that dial is turned down to a 0 right now does not mean it cannot be slowly, methodically dialed up to a 10. Welcome back. Let's establish our thesis for today. Unlike male psychology, female psychology is deeply tied to behavior, time, and emotional safety. For a woman, attraction is reactive. It is an evolutionary response to the environment and the masculine traits you are projecting. If she put you in the friend zone, she didn't do it because you are inherently unlovable. She did it because the specific behavioral stimuli you provided signaled to her nervous system that you are a provider of comfort, not a provider of polarity. If you change the stimulus you are providing, you actually change her biological reaction. I'm going to tell you exactly how to flip that switch. I am going to break down 5 deeply rooted psychological triggers that can shift a woman's perception of you, rewrite her subconscious assumptions, and build intense desire, even if she currently shows 0 interest. Let's get into it. Number 1, the principle of pre-selection. To understand this, we have to look past modern dating and look directly at evolutionary biology. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, a woman's choice in a mate was a matter of life and death. If she chose a weak, unresourceful man, she and her offspring would not survive the winter. Because the stakes were so incredibly high, the female brain developed a biological shortcut to identify a high-value male: mate copying. Mate copying, or pre-selection, means that women are biologically wired to look for men who have already been vetted by the tribe. If a man is desired, respected, or simply surrounded by other women, her subconscious mind immediately registers him as safe and valuable. The other women have already done the dangerous work of figuring out if he is a good man. Now, how does this apply to you when a woman says she isn't interested? When you make a woman your sole focus before she has earned that right, when you drop all your hobbies, stop talking to other women, and make yourself entirely available to her, you completely strip away your pre-selection. You look like a man with absolutely no other options. And here is the empathy bridge you need to cross today. He experiences this extreme focus as loyalty. You think, if I show her I only have eyes for her, she will feel special and desire me. But she experiences it as a massive evolutionary red flag. Her subconscious asks, why does no one else want him? What is wrong with him that I can't see? If she rejected you or friend-zoned you, the absolute worst thing you can do is stick around waiting for her to change her mind. You must immediately redirect your attention. I want to be very clear. I am not telling you to be manipulative. I am not telling you to go out and take fake photos with women to make her jealous. I am telling you to genuinely build a life where you are the prize. You focus on your purpose, you build your social circle, and you actively date other women. When you do this, you remove the pressure from her. And eventually, whether it's through social media, mutual friends, or just the energy you carry when you bump into her, she will notice that other women are vying for your attention. When she sees you thriving without her, when she sees that you are a pre-selected man, her perception of your value skyrockets. The dial turns up. Suddenly, the guy she thought was just a friend becomes a scarce resource that she let slip through her fingers. This brings us perfectly to number 2, the Law of Scarcity. Economics 101 applies directly to human neurochemistry. The more available a resource is, the less valuable it becomes. Oxygen is the most important thing in your life, but you don't obsess over it because it is everywhere. Gold is practically useless for daily survival, but men will kill for it because it is rare. Men who get put in the friend zone act like oxygen. High-value men act like gold. Let's look at the neuroscience of how desire is actually formed in the brain. Desire is entirely controlled by a neurotransmitter called dopamine. But here is the secret that most people don't know. Dopamine is not the chemical of reward, it is the chemical of anticipation. Neurologists talk about something called the reward prediction error. If a lab rat pushes a lever and gets a treat every single time, its dopamine levels actually drop. It gets bored. But if the rat pushes the lever and gets a treat sometimes, unpredictably, its dopamine levels absolutely explode. It becomes obsessed with the lever. When you are constantly texting a woman, always viewing her Instagram stories within 2 minutes of her posting, and always agreeing to hang out whenever she is bored, you are giving her the treat every single time. You are completely predictable. There is zero anticipation. Therefore, there is zero dopamine. If you want a woman to desire you, you must give her the gift of your absence. When she tells you she isn't interested, you do not argue. You simply step back. You stop initiating contact. You let the silence stretch. You let her wonder what you are doing. Why hasn't he texted me? Did he meet someone else? Did he lose interest in me? The moment she starts asking those questions in her head, she is investing in you. She is thinking about you. And the more she thinks about you, the more her brain starts pumping dopamine to figure out the puzzle of your absence. Again, we have to cross the empathy bridge. You think that by pulling back, she will forget about you. You think your constant presence is required to keep your foot in the door. Her nervous system reads your constant presence as a lack of ambition. If you have time to text her all day, you must not be out conquering the world. When your time becomes scarce, your attention shifts from being a given to being a reward. And female psychology is wired to desire a man whose attention must be earned. This brings us to number 3. The non-reactive masculine frame. When a woman tells you she isn't interested, or when she starts pulling back her attention to test the waters, the average guy panics. His nervous system goes into overdrive. He gets emotional. He sends a paragraph-long text asking what he did wrong. He tries to negotiate with her logic, or worse, he gets angry and defensive. A high-value man does not react. He remains completely, unshakably unbothered. Why? Because your emotional regulation is a biological aphrodisiac to a woman. Let's look at the psychology of the fitness test. Throughout history, females of almost every species test their male counterparts to gauge their strength and genetic fitness. In human psychology, a woman will subconsciously test your emotional baseline. She wants to know if you are a safe harbor, if she can throw you off balance, make you angry, or make you desperate simply by withdrawing her attention. Her subconscious mind immediately categorizes you as weak. Her biology asks a very brutal question. If this man cannot handle me pulling away for 3 days without falling apart, how is he possibly going to protect me from the real chaos, danger, and stress of the actual world? When she shows disinterest and you respond with a calm, unbothered, "No problem, take care," you completely short-circuit her expectations. You break the script she is used to playing out with weak men. When you don't chase her, it signals that you are the prize. It signals that your reality is so incredibly grounded and fulfilling that her absence does not threaten your peace. And ironically, the moment you prove you do not need her is the exact moment her biology tells her that she needs you. Number 4. Breaking the predictability pattern. Let's talk about the nice guy trope. Why do nice guys finish last? It isn't because women are inherently evil and only want toxic men who treat them terribly. It is because the stereotypical nice guy is incredibly, painfully predictable. He always agrees with her. He always texts back in 5 seconds. He never challenges her opinions. He gives her constant compliments that she hasn't earned. He is entirely compliant. Human psychology dictates that we do not value what we do not have to work for. Desire requires a little bit of friction. It requires what psychologists call benevolent unpredictability. You don't need to be mean. You don't need to be toxic. But you absolutely must stop agreeing with everything she says just to appease her. Challenge her respectfully. Disagree with her playfully. Tease her in a way that shows you aren't walking on eggshells around her. When you break the pattern of predictability, you force her brain to actively process your behavior. She thinks, wait, why isn't he agreeing with me? Why isn't he trying to impress me? The more she has to think about you to figure you out, the more she is investing emotional energy into you. Friction is the spark that creates the fire of attraction. Without it, you are just another agreeable friend. Finally, number 5, creating polarity instead of proximity. This is the exact mechanism of the friend zone, and it destroys millions of men. Men operate under the logical assumption that if they just stay close enough to her, listen to her problems, buy her things, and act like her best friend, eventually she will wake up one day, realize what a great guy he is, and fall deeply in love. Psychologically, this is the exact opposite of how attraction actually works. Proximity breeds comfort. Polarity breeds desire. Desire is the magnetic, undeniable pull between masculine and feminine energy. When you act like her therapist, or when you act like one of her girlfriends listening to her complain about other men, you completely kill the masculine-feminine polarity. You neutralize yourself. If a woman tells you she isn't interested romantically, you must immediately remove your proximity. You do not accept the demotion to friend. You look her in the eye and you say, I think you're great, but I'm looking for a romantic connection with you, not a friendship. If you ever change your mind, let me know. And then, you walk away. By enforcing this boundary, you instantly reestablish your masculine polarity. You communicate that your time and attention have immense value, and you are not willing to give them away for free. Walking away is the ultimate display of high value. Desire cannot be negotiated. It cannot be bought with favors, and it cannot be reasoned with through logic. It must be triggered subconsciously. Stop trying to convince her that you are a great guy, and start communicating to her biology through your boundaries, your scarcity, and your unshakable frame. Understanding how attraction works isn't about manipulation. It's about aligning your behavior with biological reality. It is about becoming the kind of man who naturally commands respect and letting the chips fall where they may. When you master these 5 triggers, you stop being a victim of circumstance, and you start moving through the dating market with genuine power. I want to hear from you. Look back at your past relationships or the women who have friend-zoned you. Which of these 5 psychological triggers do you realize you were completely missing? Was it the law of scarcity? Or were you killing the polarity by staying too close? Drop a comment below and tell me your experience. I read every single one, and I do reach out. If this episode gave you a genuine understanding of something you've been doing wrong, hit that like button. Share it with a man who needs to hear the truth. And if you're not subscribed yet, do it now. This is the channel that tells men the absolute truth about how the female mind actually works, and we have a lot more coming. Protect your peace, gentlemen. I will see you in the next one.